Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Myth. So today we're going to be doing a series of the Unported playlist where I take some of my favorite unported arcade games of all time, and today we're playing Arcana Heartful. And before you leave that comment down below, yes, I realize this was ported over to the PlayStation 2, but that does have some minor changes, and honestly, this point in time unported playlist, I break the rules when I feel like it, and when I get a new arcade board in and want to capture a review of it, it ends up here. Before I get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, down below hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But this is a recent-ish pickup for my arcade collection. This board in and of itself is not that expensive, and your expense goes to one of the greatest fighting games that you've probably maybe never heard of. Leave me a comment down below and tell me if you realized Arcana Heart was a thing. There are definite fans of this game out there, but this isn't going to end up in the same conversation as something like Guilty Gear or the like. But honestly, I think it should be, because there's a lot to love about Arcana Heart here. It's got absolutely incredible 2D animation, some really fun backgrounds that change up depending on what you're doing in the game, 11 awesome characters to choose from, and just an overall fun vibe. I would definitely put this in like the B+ tier of 2D fighting games. It's not going to rise to the level of something like Geru Mark of the Wolves or Street Fighter Alpha 3, but honestly that doesn't matter. This is a lot of fun, and I am playing the full version of the game here. There's Arcana Heart Vanilla, as well as an expansion board that goes onto the PCB, Arcana Heart Full, which fixes some balancing issues and adds a couple other features into the game. This is the type of thing that you sit down and start playing for 10-15 minutes and it absolutely hooks you in, and there's big Street Fighter Alpha vibes in this stage here as well. It's got an awesome engine as far as the fighting is concerned, a ton of different special moves and different features your fighters can use, a lot of different characters so you're going to be able to pick which one works for you, and just an overall fun vibe. If you're looking for a new arcade fighting game to play that might be something you've never heard of before, Arcana Heart is definitely going to be there for you. And this did get sequels. There's Arcana Heart 2 as well as 3. And this is developed by Yuki, which became Examu, and they make a lot of fighting games, and a lot of them are a ton of fun, but they just don't seem to get as much mention as some other developers in the genre, which to me is a little bit of a bummer. And if you're into arcade PCB collecting or want to start getting into it, this is a fun board to add to your collection, because not only is it an awesome game, honestly it's not even that expensive, but I love these Arcana features here. They change the background completely. That alley goes from completely barren to being filled with nightlife cats. You're never sure why the things are happening, but you always love to see them. This game just has so much detail in it. The only thing that I wish it did a little bit more of is a little bit more animation in the backgrounds, but otherwise this game is definitely a visual treat, and also has some Power Instinct 5 or Matra Melee vibes going on to me as well with this one stage here. And there's a character for you. Maori here, she plays more like a magic character. You have that spinning top, which is going to be useful for attacks, and she can also call her friends and do attack from different sides of the screen. You're going to have your standard issue fighting game fighters. You're going to have some more of those creative characters. You're going to be able to pick and choose who you like, learn their moveset, and kind of play the game the way you want to, which obviously in a fighting game is something you definitely want. And as far as the actual mechanics of the game are concerned, there's a ton of different moves. It's a 4-button setup, so you're going to be able to get in and get pretty good at the game to start, and then spend all of that time trying to master your character and get better at the game. And this does have a full story mode as well. Granted, it's all in Japanese, so you're not going to be able to understand a ton of it, but you have story mode, arcade mode, as well as training mode on the arcade PCB, and that is pretty fully featured for something that would have been an arcade game. And you'll see here there's so much verticality to this game as well. You can knock your character so high into the sky, and then you can use a dash mechanic to jump up there with them and try to attack them in the air, or that dash mechanic can also be used to close the distance on the ground to really bring the fight to your opponent. You can corner them in the corners here and really beat the ever-loving hell out of them. This game is a fun thing to play. It is a visual treat, and it also has an absolutely spectacular soundtrack, so go ahead and listen for 45 seconds. I'll be back to tell you more about Arcana Heart Full and why I love it. But enjoy!
Get ready. Fight!
Awesome soundtrack, awesome sound effects. You really can't complain about anything as far as the audio section of this game is concerned. And I do love these Arcana features right here. Obviously, they give you a different moveset. They're going to enable certain specials that you can't do otherwise. But the change in the background really makes this so dynamic and unique. Basically, you have 2 backgrounds per stage, and that is a ton of fun. You'll see there, I absolutely whiffed that special attack. My character opponent was down, and that's not when you want to do it. So the timing in this game, like any fighting game, is important. But you'll see that our heart just ran through the air. This game does play a lot with the verticality of the actual moveset and the fighting engine. You definitely don't have to go into the aerial attacks, but they're going to be very useful. And you're going to see here, I'm going to get Sky High in just a moment. But this is just a ton of fun, and it's a game that I wish more people talked about. I really don't hear anyone mentioning Arcana Heart whatsoever, and I do think it definitely should be a thing. And you'll see there, went to the entire top of the screen, just got absolutely decimated by that special, and now the background is back to normal as well. This is just the type of game that just pick it up and play it. Give it a shot, play it on PlayStation 2, emulate it, but whatever you do, don't skip it. And I do love the story mode as well. It lets you pick your characters and stages in the order in which you want to play them, kind of giving you a little bit more freedom throughout the game. But again, at least on my arcade PCB, in fully Japanese, so I can't understand a word of the text. If there was one thing that I wish this game did a little bit more, was the backgrounds in the actual artwork. Some stages look absolutely incredible. Other stages like this just kind of don't have the most flair for me. Sure, it's fun, it does look great, but there's not a lot going on in the background. I kind of wish that city skyline was twinkling just a little bit. And you'll see here again, when you change the background with those Arcana powers, you're going to see a little bit more, but again, just wish it was animated. And you'll be able to select both your character as well as their Arcana set. It's not locked down to one character, you can play around. But there's basically so many different characters in this game. Kira here, with this water droplet around her that turns into basically anything she needs it to attack, just kind of reminds me a lot of Waku Waku 7. This game definitely has some Waku Waku vibes going on, and some other Atlas games as well, and that is just always fun when it reminds you of some of your favorite fighting games. You know you're in for a good time. And I do like this water park stage as well. It definitely has a lot of flair and fun to it. And interestingly, a lot of the development team that worked on Arcana Heart also worked on Samurai Showdown 5, and while there isn't really any thematic content in common with these two games, it is fun to kind of see the lineage. While Samurai Showdown 5 is not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, it is a ton of fun, and it's fun to know where the developers came from. But I'm going to give you one more taste of the soundtrack, because this music in this game is just absolutely a 10 out of 10 in my opinion, and I'll come back, tell you a little bit more about the development history and why I think you should definitely be playing this game. But enjoy it, because the music really is that good. It just got a total playful vibe to it. It definitely works within the context of the actual visuals and the overall theme of the game. And that is just why Arcana Heart is so fun. Definitely play full versus the vanilla version. That's going to be the more fully featured version of the game to play. And I will say, as far as fighting games are concerned, this has one of the easiest, in my opinion, final bosses ever. We're definitely not at SNK territory here, where you're just going to continually die over and over again. And I love that they use some of the best artwork for the last stage as well. But Arcana Heart Full is just that hidden gem that I think people should be playing. I'm sure some people are going to say hidden gem. I've always known about this game, and I totally get that. But for the most part, I just feel like the original Arcana Heart isn't something I hear mentioned very often anymore, and that is a bummer to me. Grab this game, bring a friend, open some beers, get some two-player matches going on, and learn a new fighting game. There's a lot to love with this one, and I think if you give it some time, it might become one of your new favorite deep cut fighting games of all time. But short of that, we are done. This is a fun one, and I played it on an original arcade PCB through my RetroTink 4K. I'll have videos throughout the week, but we are done. I have defeated the final boss, and I'm going to be able to put my initials into the game. But Arcana Heart Full, 9.5 out of 10 in my opinion. Definitely check it out. Bye-bye.